Okay, so let's continue with our AWS series. And in this video, we will look one more service, which is the Route 53. So if you open the AWS console and search Route 53, and here you will see scalable DNS and domain name registration. If you click on it, so this is like basically the overview video because this is a paid service, so I can't do the hands-on, but we will like cover almost everything related to the Route 53, their terminology. So in this video, what we are going to cover, what is the DNS, right? Along with the how the DNS is going to work at the backend. Along with this, what is what is like AAAA, what is the CNAME, what are the hosted zones, what is the TTL and how it's work at the backend. What are the CNAME, what are the alias? So everything, like mostly everything we are going to cover in this video. So if you click on this Route 53, here you will see like Amazon Route 53, a reliable way to route user to internet application. Okay, ignore that. Amazon Route 53 is a highly available and scalable domain name system. So they have mentioned this Route 53 is the DNS service, domain name system. So first we have to understand what is the DNS service. If we understand what is the DNS service, then it's simple. Like whatever they want to give the name, either they want to give this ABC or whatever they want to give, it's fine, right? Amazon Route 53. So, but actually this is the DNS service. So let's see what is the DNS. Okay, so DNS is the domain name system. So what basically like it do is it converts human friendly host name to the machine IP address. As an example, so when you visit any website, so an example, when you type www.facebook.com, right? So this is just a text. This is just a text. How your computer going to know like I have to open the facebook.com? Because when the facebook.com is some kind of application which is running on some EC2 or some container or anywhere. So it is hosted on some you can say server, and that server has some IP address. So we need how we are going to access that application using the IP address. But we said, okay, www.facebook.com or like something.com, example.com. How our web browser going to understand like I need to convert this text to this IP address. So that is the power of the domain name system. So this is the domain name system which is going to convert these texts, that is the human friendly host name, because this is very difficult to remember the IP address. If I told you like, okay, the google.com has this IP address, facebook.com has this IP address, drive.google.com has this IP address, mail.google.com has this IP address, so it's very difficult for you remember. So that's why we created some like human friendly host names. So the system which is going to convert this human friendly host name to the IP address is called a domain name system. So the same thing, Amazon Route 53 is nothing. It is a domain name system service. Okay, but how the people are going to create this, like example.com or like facebook.com, how they have created? So they need to register the domain name. So there are so many websites available in the market. Like maybe some of you are already aware. One is the GoDaddy.com, which is the popular. One is the domain.com. And the AWS Route 53 is not only the domain name system. It's not only just convert host name to the IP address, but if you want to create your like this host name, then you can also, you don't want to go to this like godaddy.com or domain.com, you can go there. Whatever the cheap facility will provide, you can go there, but you can register your domain on the Amazon AWS Route 53 as well. All right. So this 53 is basically the port number, generally on the DNS verse. So that's why they added Amazon Route 53. Okay, so you can register the domain. So if you open the Route 53 and click here, so there are so many options. You could see there is a domain. You can register the domain. If you click on the register domain, all right. So let's suppose you want to create your own website. So you like some website you created on your EC2. So you hosted your website on the EC2. You spin up one EC2. You deploy your application on the EC2. Now EC2 has some IP address, but the user, you can't share the IP address to the user, or you can share, it's up to you. But you want, no, no, I don't want to share the IP address of the user. I directly the IP address. I want to create some domain, some host name like mywebsite.com. So first you need to register your domain. So to register your domain, you can go to the GoDaddy domain.com, Amazon Route 53, or many other websites. So let's suppose because I told you like Amazon Route 53 is the domain name system which converts host name to the IP address. Along with that, it is the domain registration service. Along with that, it is a domain registration service. So it's not only just converting, it registers as well. So on the so if you click on a register domain, so you can choose any domain. So let's suppose I select sumanshu.com, and if I click check.com, whether it's available or not. So it says sumanshu.com is not available. Okay, let me check Sumanshu Nankana and check. It says okay, Sumanshu.nankana is available and it is like a $13 per year. Right, you can select like any other like .net or .org, .com, .co.uk, like whatever you want, you can select that. Right, then after that you can add to the cart. Then after that you can select okay for how many years you want. So 10 years the price is going to increase for 1 year. Right, if you continue it, then you have to fill your contact details, because whenever you register any domain, you have to give the owner of the domain, who owns the domain. So generally like there are some websites, so if you want to find the domain details, so you can just run some commands, or from the website you can get the details. So these details will become okay where this domain get registered. So you can put these details here. After that there is a verify and the purchase option. So in the verify purchase option, you can just verify the, you can like purchase the domain. You can just have to pay this amount, right? And after that, like couple of minutes, you will like one domain has been registered for you. Like, so using the Amazon 53, you can register the domain as well. Okay, which is perfectly fine. But the other question is how like this actually work at the back end. Like when someone type www.example.com, how actually the DNS work at the back end. But, right? So there is a like I created some beautiful diagram. But before that, we need to understand the URL function. So in the URL there is a top level domain. Top level domain is like .com. When I type www.facebook.com, so is it .com? Is it .org? Is it .gov? It is .co. It is .uk. It is .us or .in. This is a top level domain. So it is called as a top level domain. Second is the second level domain. Second level domain is a facebook.com, google.com, amazon.com. Then it is a subdomain like www.google.com or drive.google.com. Like we mentioned, we open a Google Drive, drive.google.com, mail.google.com. Right. So this is the subdomain. Correct. And FQDN, fully qualified domain name. So fully qualified domain name is like HTTPS. This subdomain, this our second level domain and top level domain. And after the top level domain, there is a dot at the end. If there is a dot at the end, then we call it as a fully qualified domain name. Because if you see this level, so root is dot, because there is a first dot. Like we mentioned, let me tell you, www dot facebook.com, something like that. So first we mentioned dot. So dot is the root level. Dot is the root level. So dot is the root level. So that's why like the fully qualified domain name will be ended with the dot as well. So first is the dot level. The first level is the .com, .edu, .government. The second level is google.com. Third level is like drive.google.com or www.google.com. But how this is going to work at the back end? So so this is a diagram. So as an example, this is your personal computer, right? So you open the any browser. Let's suppose you open the Google Chrome and you type www.example.com or facebook.com. Then how it is going to fetch how it is going to, how the DNS is going to resolve the IP address corresponding to this. So what will happen is it says okay example.com. Then it is first going to your local DNS server. or you can see the DNS resolve. So this local DNS server is the one which is provided by your internet provider. So whoever is your internet provider, it is going there. So it will check like my browser, because I am connecting with the internet. So I ask my internet DNS server, do you know example.com? So let's suppose he know what is example.com, then it is like giving me the IP address. Yes, I know this is the IP address of the example.com and you can access that. That's it. Even it's not going further. But let's suppose our local DNS name is looking, because there is a new website. Let's suppose I created the new domain, sumanshu.com. My local internet provider don't know what is manchuriankana.com, what is the IP address of .com. So if I try to browse my website manchuriankana.com, then I will ask from my browser is going to ask from the local DNS, that is my internet provider, do you know what is manchuriankana.com? Then he said, no, I don't know who is manchuriankana.com. I don't have such information. Then it will search recursively. It is going to search recursively. So first it will go to root level. So root is dot. This root level DNS contains, you can say, a kind of a folder. It has some many folders. One is .com folder, one is .org folder, one is .us folder, one is .in folder. It has so many folders. The root DNS said, then it is going to ask from first for the root DNS. Do you know what is example.com? Root DNS said, I don't know what is example.com, but I have the information about the .com, because root level, root is only going to store about the .com, .org, .in, .us, .uk, this kind of information. Then root will pass the mention, I don't know what is example.com, but I have the information about the .com. You can ask this information from the .com. Then my local DNS server go to the .com. So .com is a one server, right? Then it will go to the .com. Then it will say, do you know what is example.com? Right? It says, yes, I know what is the example.com, and the example.com has this website. But like, let's suppose there is a drive.google.com, right? So is this second level domain said, or like a top level domain said, so this is the root. Root has only .com folder. Root said, okay, I know this kind of organization, .com, .org. Then he said, do you know what is example.com? To the root. So root said, I only know, like I know .com, .org. You can check the .com. Then we are going to the .com. Then .com is further taking so many subfolders like google.com, facebook.com, or so many things, amazon.com. Then we are, do you know example.com? Then .com source said, I personally don't know what is example.com, but I have the information about, there are some folders I have, which is like example.com, google.com, facebook.com, something like that, right? Then it is going to pass the information. Then this server shared to my local DNS. You can ask from that. Then our we will send the recursive query to one more DNS server. And that is the second level domain name server. That is the example.com. Do you know example.com? Then it says, yes, I know example.com. Then this is the IP address. Then this IP address is going to cache in my local DNS server. That is, it is going to cache in my local DNS server, so that every time when I enter www.example.com, it should not go to the root level. It should not go to the like top level. It should not go to the second level DNS. This IP address is being cached. Then in my second hit, my my local IP, my internet provider DNS server is going to give me this information. Okay, I am hitting example.com, this is the IP address. I'm hitting example.com, this is the IP address. So in this way, like our DNS is going to work at the back end. Okay. Okay, so let's look at the what are the AAA, CNAME, what are the hosted jobs. So if you click on it, so one option is that, like in the Route 53, one option is the domain, where we can like register the domain. So you can register the domain, or you can transfer the domain, and you can transfer the existing domain. Okay, which is perfectly fine. Now there is a concept of the hosted zone. And so if you click on the hosted zone, so hosted zone is like if I give you example, 1 minute. So if you give you example like that, you see, you can open the www.google.com. You can open the mail.google.com. You can open the drive.google.com, right? So how this google.com is same, just by changing the subdomain, how you are like opening so many website, because when you open www.google.com, some other application is coming, some different UI is coming. When you open mail.google.com, some different application is coming. When you open drive.google.com, some different application is coming, right? So how you have to achieve this like solution? So what you have to do is, in the Route 53, you have to create the hosted zone. So there are two type of hosted zone. One is the public hosted zone, one is the private hosted zone, right? And this is not free. So even to create the hosted zone, right, which is not doing anything, even it is not free. So zone contains so many records. So first we need to create the zone. So zone create the like, so this is a zone where I should like, let's suppose I'm creating a zone google.com. So this is a zone. So, so example like example.com, well, let's suppose I am going to create google.com. Google.com is a zone. Google.com is, and within that I will create multiple records. Multiple record means if someone enter www.google.com, then it should redirect to 10.20.30.40, some IP address. If someone enter mail.google.com, then it should point to some other IP address, right? If someone enter drive.google.com, it should go to some other URL like this, some other IP address. So there are some records into that. All right. So we can create a public hosted zone, we can create a private hosted zone, but these are not free. So you have to pay for that. So public hosted zone means whenever you want to, public hosted determines how the traffic is routed on the internet. So when you want to access any website from your internet, then that should be in the public hosted zone. But if you want within the VPC, so let's suppose there are, you created two EC2, and one EC2 has like www.ec21.com. Some second is the www.ec2.com. So both the ec2.com like going to connect with each other. You know, only these two are going to connect with each other. Like no one is going to access from the outside. Then you can create a like a private hosted zone which is going to within the VPC. Okay. So that's and when you click on the private hosted, so you have to select the VPC. When you click the public hosted, so you don't want to collect like select any VPC. Okay, so this is the hosted zone. So first level is the you need to create the first is you need to create a domain name. Second is you need to create a hosted zone. Okay, and okay, so once we created the hosted zone, so as an example, so first we created our first we registered some domain like google.com. We registered some domain. So this domain we registered. Let's suppose we registered this domain, or let's suppose Manshu nankana.com. We registered this domain either using the GoDaddy or using the Route 53 facility as well. Now, and we have multiple website. So what we did is we spin up 1 minute. Yeah. So we spin up three applications in three EC2. Let's suppose we spin up three application, and one has like a Flask application, one has Django application, one has Fast API application. Let's suppose we have three application running on the three different EC2. All right. So what we will do, we will create our application, we'll spin up three EC2, we will deploy that, and in the three EC2 will be up. So three EC2 has all the three different IP address. So this has one IP address 10 like one 1.2.3.4 as an example. So this is a dummy IP address 5.6.7.8, 9.10.11.12. Right. And and let's suppose so this is going to like and if we place our EC2 in front of our load balancer. So let's suppose there is a load balancer, and load balancer is pointing to only first EC2, EC2 1, which has the Flask application. So we know use load events like when we attach the load balancer using the load balancer DNS, we can access our website. We can access our website. So this is the EC2 IP, which is 1.2.3.4. So example 1.2.3.4. Now it has a load balancer. So this is also the internal load balancer. It is something like that. So it is something like this. 1 minute, like this. My ALB 123 for EU West 1 dot Elastic Load Balancer Amazon AWS.com. So some kind of this website, and this domain Amazon AWS.com is not the one which we own. Is the one which is owned by the Amazon itself. So, but like this is the like load balancer which is created when we attach the load balancer in front of our EC2. Okay, but now we want to access our application. We want to access our application like this. When I enter flask dot sumanshunankana.com, then it should like open my this website, right? And when I enter zengo.sumanshunankana.com, then it should my application which is running on the second EC2. When I enter fastapi.sumanshunankana.com, then it should open my website which is running on the third EC2. And you can attach all the load balancer. Yeah, let's suppose you created second load balancer in front of this. You can create one more load balancer in front of this EC2, right? So these are the entries. So these are the entries. So how you are going to, because we will using the web browser, I am going to enter this flash.smanchunankana.com, right? And how my web browser is going to know I have to access this IP 1.2.3.4, so which is the functionality of the DNS, or you can say which is the functionality of the Route 53. So first I will create one hosted job, so manshunankana.com. So I created one hosted zone. So let's suppose this is the public hosted zone, right? Because I want to access from my internet, from my public. So I will create a public hosted zone. So I created one hosted zone. So one hosted zone has been created. So manshunankana.com, right? And within the hosted zone, what I will do is I will create a record. So the hosted zone has been created. So first step is register the domain. So my domain is registered. So manshunankana.com. Second step is spin up some application. Spin up application in EC2, which we already spin up. Okay. Third step is create a public hosted zone with the name sumanshunankana.com. Okay. So we have created a public hosted zone. Now we have to create a record entries. Now we have to create a record entry. So these are the record entries. These are the record entries which we need to create. And these record entries are of different types. So as an example, so 1 second. So these DNS records could be of A type. This DNS record of could be like a 4A. This DNS could be of CNAME type. So what is the difference between A, this triple like 4 time A, and this CNAME? Right. So like A is when you maps your host name to the IPv4 address, and AAA means when you maps your host name to the IPv6 address. So as an example, so in this case, we are mapping with the our host name, Let's suppose you are mapping. Let's suppose there is no load balancer. Let's suppose I am mapping app dot nankana.com directly with my IP address. Then I should create a A-level record name. I should create a A-level record name. So when you create the hosted zone, I can't do that because it's a like paid service and I'm the free tier only. And so even if you want to see, there are so many like YouTube websites you can check that some people are doing the actual hands-on. So once you create the hosted zone, so within the hosted zone, so you click on the first hosted zone, there is a one more button that is a create a record entries. And in the record entries, it will ask, do you want to A record? Do you want to create the for A like this AAA record? Do you want to create the CNAME record? Do you want to create NS? There are so many things, but mainly are A and the CNAME, right? So if I have to directly point my like app, so I what I will do is I will mention, okay, app.smanchunankana.com should point to this. That's it, like a record. And once I apply that, once the record has been created, then I will go to my web browser. I will access this website, and automatically I am pointed to this. All right. So this is the A record. Let's suppose if my IP has the IPv6. Then if IPv6, then I have to create the AAA record. Right? So this is the difference between A and 4A record. If you want to map your host name with the IPv4, then you should create the A record. If you map your host name with the IPv6, then you have to create the triple, like not triple A, four times A record. Okay. And what is the CNAME? When you map to host name to the another host name. So as an example, so as an example, so let's suppose sometimes like there is one host name. So this is our host name load, because there is a load balancer. So within the load balancer there is a record name, and here you can create a C name, because this is a host name. This is a host name. This is not a IP address. This is a host name. So what you can do is flash.smartphone.kana.com. You will create a one CNAME entry. You will create a one CNAME entry which is going to point to the our load balancer. You will going to create a one CNAME entry which is going to point to this load balancer. You will create a one CNAME entry which is going to point to this load balancer. So CNAME is basically used when you point to one host name to the another host name, right? So this is the difference. But there is a one more concept, that is the TTL, time to live. All right, so this is also like very important concept. So time to live refer to associate to the DNS record, which how long the information can be cached. Okay, so as an example, I told you, okay, let me show you one more diagram. Okay, so as an example, so this is my computer, this is my personal computer. I am entering www.smartphone.com, and this don't know what is smartphone.com. By using this process, right? Or let's suppose I am accessing. Let's suppose I am accessing. So for the time being, I am accessing flask.smartphone.com, and currently it is pointing to the EC2 one. Currently it is pointing to the EC2 one. So what I am expecting is whenever I open flask.smartphone.com, I should see the access which is hosted on this application, which is hosted on this EC2. All right. So what I will do is I will open my web browser. I will open flask.smartphone.com. So what will happen at the back end? It will check. Do you know what is flask.smartphone.com? It will search everything like this. It will go to top level, it will go to the root level, it will go to the top level, it will go to the secondary level, and it will find the IP address. It will find the IP address. When it will give the IP address, okay, this is the IP address. So this is along with the IP address. Now it will give the TTL. TTL is time to live. So this TTL it will be set by the whoever owns the domain. Whoever owns the domain, so that person is going to set. So it is going to give me the TTL entry as well, and that TTL entry is going to like cache here in cache in my local DNS server. Local DNS server means like there is one more DNS entry now, so it will going to cache here with the TTL. All right, so it is going to cache with the TTL. So second time when it will be second time when my going to access, like, so it will check, okay, so this is the IP address, so this is the IP address. And time to live is, let's suppose the time to live is 60 second. Time to live is 60 second, and within the 60 second I am going to hit my website again, and I am going to hit my website again, then it is not going to further hit Route 53. So basically, by setting the TTL, we are preventing multiple hits to the Route 53. We know this is the IP address, then it is directly going to access my EC2. Then it is directly going to access my EC2. But let's suppose I set time to live is 5 minutes. As an example, I'm going to that. So when I access flask.smanchunankana.com, it is going to do something into the Route 53. It is going to go to the Route 53. It will find this IP address 1.2.3.4. It will give me this IP address. Okay, 1.2.3.4 is the IP address, and it will give me the 5 minutes. All right. So 300 second it will give me, and the time to live will be set as 300. Right. So as soon as I enter flask.smanchunankana.com second time within a 5 minute, I'm going to see my same content. But let's suppose within third minute, let's suppose at the back end in the AWS, I added this entry because this is the editable entry, so I can edit. I manually added this entry, and instead of EC21 IP, I can mention EC2 IP. So now I want flask.smartphone.com should point to this EC2. So IP address going to change. All right. but IP address going to change. So what I expecting is whenever I access flash.manchuranankana.com, I should see this. I should see the application which is hosted on this EC2. But the time to leave is 300 seconds, and still 2 minutes left. Still 2 minutes left. So even I am accessing flash.manchuranankana.com, even though I have pointed to this EC2, but still I am able to see the content of this EC2, because my time to leave is still 60, like a 5 minute, right? So it is not going to check the new entries. It is not going to check the new entries, even though the new entry is getting updated. So it is not going to check the new entries in my route 53, because it's already cached here and the time is still there. Time is still there. So until unless time is not expired, it is not going to refresh. It is not going to re-hit the route 53. So this is the TTL, like this is the advantage of the TTL. So there are advantage, or you can say there are some pros and cons. So pros is like you can prevent the multiple hit to the route 53. Cons is, so like in this case, even though I updated my this record name, I updated my this record name, but because of my high TTL, that is, let's suppose I said 24 hours, right? And within 24 hours, before 24 hours, I can't do that. I can't access my website, because even though I have manually updated my entry here from EC21 to EC22, but still for first 24 hour, I am still able to see my EC21 like application, because it has cached here. So until unless this time is not going to expire, it is not going to hit my route 53. Once the time is going to expire, then it is going to hit the route 53. So generally, in general case, we set the like a minimum time, like a 5 minutes or 300 second. Okay, so this is the concept of the TTL. And there one more concept. There is a CNAME and the alias. So when we create the CNAME, all right. So for the CNAME, we have to give the full subdomain, right? So subdomain means like app.smanchuangana.com, because CNAME is to map to the hostname. CNAME can't be created for the like root level domain. CNAME can't be created for the root. So let's put this is the root level domain. So in this, I have not given the subdomain like www dot or app.com. So now if I am going to point this to another subdomain, then it is not going to work. So for this case, you have to create the A level record name. So that's it. So that is some overview about the Route 53. And in this video, we see what is like Route 53, and it act as a domain registrator. It acted as a DNS. DNS means like we are going to convert friendly hostname to the IP address, because we did some entries. We did some entries like this. We did some entries, and this entry is point to be cheap like IP address, so that we can find the route 53. It's like a telephone notebook. All right. Along with, we can create a register our new domain. All right. Then we see how actually the DNS work. We also see what is time to live. What will happen if we like manually update the entry, and but still the time is not expired. All right. So we see what is A type of record, what is like a 4A type of record, what is CNAME type of record, and what are hosted zone we see. So these are just like the overview. But if you want to do some practical, then you can do the practical you are at on end, but this is not free. Or if you want to just see, there are so many YouTube videos, you can go through that. Not in my channel, but in some other channel, you can. There are so many people are doing the hands-on, whoever already purchased the domain. So maybe they are. You can see how we actually do the hands-on. So that's it. That's the end of the video, and thank you.